points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba, for all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms. We say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Minuk, with Ezra Ginsburg. I'm your host, Drew Mindell, here to talk about the Winnipeg Jets ending their road trip in a disappointing fashion, losing 5-3 in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina, to a very talented Carolina Hurricanes team. The Jets end the road trip with a positive record of 2 wins, 1 loss, but a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth with regards to tonight's game. Gentlemen, good to see you both on this Tuesday evening. Had to double check there in my brain. Tuesday evening is my final answer. You know, sometimes hockey games are really easy to break down. Sometimes hockey games are really easy to provide analysis regarding. Tonight's game was pretty straightforward, pretty simple. The team that made fewer errors won the game, because the Winnipeg Jets, you know, if it wasn't for self-inflicted mistakes, probably could have swept this road trip. Instead, they play a very good hockey team in the Carolina Hurricanes. They make too many errors that end up behind the goaltender, David Rittich, and as a result, the Jets end it with a defeat as opposed to a victory. Good evening to you both, gents. Ezzy, how are you? Dave, how are you as well?
What's up, boys? Yeah, I think it's fair to say that, you know, this game could have gone either way, and there's no doubt, Drew. I agree with you. A lot of this was self-inflicted. David Rittich was not good tonight. We'll get into the goals.
Yeah.
You could argue that, you know, 3 of the 4 goals that he allowed were bad, maybe even all 4 goals. But yeah, I mean, I honestly thought Hellebuyck was going to get the start, and I realized that, you know, he goes back to back and he faces a lot of rubber. And I don't think, you know, this is all on Rittich, but he definitely, you know, didn't come up with big saves when he needed to. But yeah, you love the fact, like, we have to talk about that effort by Morgan Barron, boys. Like, he was, you know, arguably his best game last game. And, you know, he was again excellent tonight. And so you love the fact that the Jets, you know, made it a 1-goal game late there with whatever it was, 4 or 5 minutes left. And then Blake Wheeler takes that penalty. And that to me, I mean, like you mentioned, Drew, you know, some hockey games are easy to break down. Mm-hmm. And obviously, you know, that play by Wheeler isn't the entire game, but it's really hard to tie the game up, Dave, when you're killing a penalty with whatever it was, less than 3 minutes left, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 minutes and 50 seconds, right? And you could argue that was a bit of a weak call, but it was called, right? And, you know, the Jets really, that negated any chance the Jets had at tying the game up.
Yeah, no, Ezzy, you're 100% right. And it's a killer, because you don't think you're going to get back into it when Jack Drury scores that goal to make it 4-2, and then suddenly it's a 4-3 game, and you're like, well, you know, maybe the Jets can, despite all their miscues tonight, squeak back into this hockey game and earn themselves at least a point and maybe 2, with, you know, both Calgary and Nashville in action later tonight. Drew won't have to scoreboard watch, at least not yet, but the truth,
Nashville's playing already. I can give you an update. They're up 1-0.
Oh no. Well, okay. You just did, I guess.
Yeah.
But the point is that, you know, the Jets had that opportunity. And look, do I think it's a call against Blake Wheeler? No, not really, especially given the fact that the refs had kind of been letting things go a little bit and hadn't really called many penalties throughout the course of that hockey game, obviously. So I don't know if it was game management, but it's just unusual in a 1-goal game with 2:52 to go in the third period to take it. Now, you could argue, why does Blake Wheeler take that penalty?
Well, you can't put yourself in the position to get called there.
So, no, for sure. It's especially there in you know, in the zone. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I understand you're trying to create, but there's still 3 minutes to go in the hockey game and you're down by a goal. There's still a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're right, Drew. You don't want to, especially with the way the refereeing goes.
The referee was right there, right, Dave? Like, it was literally right in front of the ref.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where you're sitting there going, okay, like you're right, as the ref can make that call because he's 15 feet away from the play, but. So you're right, Drew, also to not put yourself into that position, but just an unfortunate situation for a Jets team that, like I said, made too many mistakes. I mean, we saw the Scheifele line benched for the final 12 minutes of the second period, based on
I wasn't
Really
sure
a lot-
you were going to bring that up, Dave. I thought maybe we would just do like an hour post-game show and that wouldn't come up, that the top line was benched for half the period.
Deservingly so. I mean, the numbers of the Jets line.
Yeah, I
They were
saw
terrible tonight. Just absolutely terrible.
Well, I mean, they had a 0.00 Corsi 4 percentage. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Is
is
that bad,
hard
Drew?
to do. Yeah, that's bad. I know it's hard. I know. I mean, that's bad. That is. I mean, that's impossibly bad. Even
40
the
minutes.
worst line. Yeah, and
Oh, really? Actually, through 28 minutes because they didn't see the
They
ice for the
played
last
5
12.
minutes and
Exactly.
42. They played 5 minutes and 42 seconds together at 5-on-5. So at in that 5 minutes and 42 seconds, they somehow managed to get zero possession.
They were on for all 3 goals up until that
Yeah.
point. All
I mean-
Carolina goals, the Scheifele line was out there.
Their expected goals against was 0.75. Their expected goals for was 0. I mean, these are numbers that are hard. A first line, a top line of superstars should never have this happen. Now, I get having
Never.
a bad night. I get having a rough go at it, but that's beyond acceptable, and that's why they were benched, justifiably so. They were benched because they did nothing in the first 28 minutes of the game to help their team. Sorry,
Well, like
Dave, I think I
Spency just
interrupted.
said there, I mean, it's as if they took a trip to the moon because, I mean, look at the Jets. Like I like the fourth line again tonight, right? Like they were good against the Lightning the other game. So I like
Mhm.
that. I mean, you obviously we'd already talked about Morgan Barron. I'm sure we're going to talk about him. Obviously, we'll talk about him when we talk about the Jets' third goal, Dave. But so
Yeah.
there's a lot of positives here. But I like this game was not an A effort from the Jets. Like, let's be honest here. Like Riddick was bad,
Mhm.
but I mean, like, look at Ehlers and Wheeler were fantastic tonight, and obviously Niederreiter responded by getting the Jets within a goal there. But I mean, like, and they were lucky to get the win over Tampa Bay. So yes, they probably could have got all 6 points if Riddick was just average tonight. But there's more that I don't like about tonight's game as opposed to what I did like about today's game,
Well,
Dave.
and the other thing we have to mention, of course, is that Neil Pionk, and I'm not blaming Neil Pionk for the bad pass by Kevin Stanton. Like, if you're going to make the decision to come into the zone,
Mhm.
then at least make a crisp pass. I hate when guys bring it back into the zone needlessly because what happened to the Jets, I'm not saying it happens very often, but it can happen. And that's really that's one thing you couldn't afford to have happen to the Jets club, which, was going to try and push back into that hockey game. And that is just such a disarming from a momentum perspective thing to transpire. So I'm not going to blame Neil Pionk on that, his poor reception of that pass, which leads to turnover, which then leads to a goal.
It's the same thing. Sorry, David. Same thing as the first goal, right? I don't know if you're necessarily blaming Brendan Dillon more than you're blaming Kyle Connor for his positioning. He's not even in the zone to take that pass.
I'm blaming Kyle
Kyle
we'll get into it, but I would
Yeah.
blame Kyle Connor for flying the zone. And
Right,
no
you
question.
could say the bank pass by Dillon was a bit of a short pass, and Connor was anticipating it being, the angle being different. But I don't care; it doesn't make a difference. He doesn't know where his man is. He has no
Yeah.
clue. He's
He's-
already thinking offense, and he's gone. So
He's
we'll get into that in
standing
a second.
flat-footed, just waiting for the puck, and
Yeah.
instead the Hurricanes player comes in.
I'd actually
and
argue,
takes the
Drew.
puck from
I'd
him.
actually argue he was actually already leaving the
Well,
zone.
he had flown the zone, no question,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
stopped,
Yeah.
and then he's standing on the other side of the blue line. So he.
Yeah,
he's
so-
already- and then
I-
I mean, it was. That was
Anyways.
And that's
we're
what I'm
gonna get
kind of
to that.
saying. No, you're right, Drew. And that's kind of what I'm saying. That yes,
Yeah.
the goaltending was bad. Like Riddick was not good tonight.
No,
I'm not going to sugarcoat that, Dave.
no,
But they
no.
were sloppy. Like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
plays we're talking about, the Stenlin and Pionk miscommunication, that turnover, the Dylan Connor turnover on the first goal. Like it just wasn't. We always use the word crisp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave likes to use the word crispiness. Like they weren't crisp tonight. And against the Carolina Hurricanes, even if they don't have Andrei Svechnikov and even if they don't have Max Pacioretty, this is still, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know, top 3, top 4 team in the league.
There were
True, as he-
yes.
But I was going to say quickly, they also came in having been shut out their last 2 games, and again feeling not great about their game. Even though now they have one of the best home teams in the Eastern Conference or in the NHL, I think. So they are good at home, and they were heavily favored by our friends at Betway in tonight's game. But at the same time, this was a team that hadn't scored a goal in their last 2 games and only had one 3 games ago when they beat the Flyers 1-0. So it wasn't as if they were scoring. 5 goals for Carolina is going to seem like manna from heaven because they hadn't been getting goals. So all of a sudden, David Rittich was like, okay, here, I'll give you guys a gift because he wasn't good on the second goal. He's beat clean. There was no screen. So I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to spoiler alert, but the second and third goals, those are on him. But we'll get into that after.
That was the Brady Shea goal for anybody who
get
forgot.
Into
that was the goal that made it 2-1 Carolina.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I mean, we'll get into it when we get into the Betway game recap. There's a lot about the Jets game, as you said, that you don't like. There's just it's sloppy, and the Jets are not a good enough team to beat when they're not a good enough team to play sloppy and win against one of the better regular season teams in the league. Now, I don't know that I trust Carolina come playoff time, especially now without Svechnikov. But from the Winnipeg,
that's huge.
That's a
I
killer
agree with
injury. It's an absolutely killer injury.
One of their best forwards, so that's not good.
And it was his bobblehead night tonight.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean,
really?
That's a bad time.
It's crazy how that always happens. Like Dave always brings it up with the Moose, how it seems like every single guy that's selected as a bobblehead guy never ends up actually playing in the game. So it's pretty funny. Not funny, but terrible. It's kind of sick timing for him.
Yeah, terrible timing about the Svechnikov injury. And look, this Carolina Hurricanes team, we know how well coached they are. We know how crisp they are.
I think Rod Brind'Amour is the best. I've said this how many times, Drew. I think he's the best coach in the league.
I know, but where do you ever see Carolina? Just not. We described the Jets game as sloppy tonight. When do you ever see Carolina as sloppy? You don't see it that often.
They're one of the least sloppy teams in the league, I would say.
They exactly right. They are one of the just most structured and sometimes structured is a euphemism for boring or not talented, but that's not the case with them. They know exactly how to play their game, and they play it so well so often, which is why they've only lost 14 times in regulation in 65 games that they've played so far this year. This is a damn good hockey team. The Jets know that, yet the Jets still came out, and maybe you say it's because of the 3 and 4 nights, and maybe you just say it's for whatever reason. But the Winnipeg Jets can't afford to be sloppy against the Carolina Hurricanes. And as a result, they lost the game. It was their sloppiness that cost them at least a point tonight, given how the game went and the score of the game. There's no doubt about my mind it was self-inflicted. And that's just what the Jets cannot afford. And as you mentioned, Dave, with Calgary playing, I think Calgary's playing the Coyotes tonight, if I'm not mistaken, and Nashville is up on Detroit right now. The lead in the playoff race for the Jets could shrink could get ever closer depending on the results of those games. And of course, we'll keep you updated throughout the post-game show as relevant scores happen. Let's get into the Betway game recap. It's brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. With a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Big thanks to our friends at Betway for being the official title sponsor of the post-game show. We say good evening to all of you who are joining us. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, tell your friends, tell your family. The best place to be is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel.
And my apology, Drew, to everybody who I've been tweeting out the links to the post-game show. And you were watching a post-game show, but it was the Illegal Curve post-game show of the Jets and Sharks, I think. I'm not sure which one I was sending out, but for whatever reason, I just looked. I was like, I tweeted it and I looked on our Twitter and it shows the image. And I'm like, how does it have the image of us already? That doesn't make any sense. Then I looked, it was like a picture of me and Ezzy. I'm like, Jets, Sharks. I'm like, well, people could watch that, but I don't know that they're going to want to watch that as opposed to this one live.
Dave is new to computers, so we look forward to him.
Computering is hard.
Figuring out the left click and the right click and things of that nature coming up any day.
Drew,
now.
Drew, why don't you do us all a favor and click that little button on the mouse? And there he goes. All right, Ezzy, welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. I am your host, Dave Manouk. He is my main man, Ezzy Ginsburg. We no longer have Drew Mandel. We've sent him to the netherworld. So, he's back. Damn it.
That's the button, yes, the kill button, the self-destruct button. Weird that I have a self-destruct button for myself, though. That's the problem with
that. Reminds me back in the day when Richie used to I used to always go. I used to go use the vending machine, or I'd go warm up my coffee or something.
Yeah.
Richie used to lock me out of the studio during the breaks. That's what that reminded me of, Dave. I love it.
There you go. I'm back, folks. You can't get rid of me that easily, no matter how many times I hit that kill switch on my mouse here. The Carolina Hurricanes open the scoring 4:37 into the game. A team that is, as Dave alluded to, having had trouble scoring. What they need more than anything is an early goal, and they get it. It's Jacob Slavin, his 6th of the season. It comes at the 4:37 mark. We talked about it. Brendan Dillon's got the puck. He's looking to headman it up to Kyle Connor. Connor flies the zone and then just stops. He stops outside the blue line, and he's just waiting for the pass. Meanwhile, Jacob Slavin says, okay, I'll take the pass instead. Comes in, swoops in, and then collects his own rebound almost, and it sort of flutters over David Riddick. There's just so much not to like on this play, Ezzy.
Oh, it's the definition of an ugly goal, and it's not a greasy ugly goal, like a good shoot the puck on net, get the rebound, bang it home. It was, first off, there wasn't a lot of pressure, right? That's the thing that bothered me about this goal. It's not like it was an aggressive forecheck, and Brendan Dillon was forced into a turnover, right? And so Kyle Connor, look at he was where he was. It's a bad pass. Jacob Slavin, as you mentioned, picks it up. Not sure if the rebound ended up popping up and going off of Dillon, but Jacob Slavin just follows up his rebound. So yeah, it was a bad turnover, and good on Jacob Slavin. Like, it was a heads up play.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a ugly goal, a terrible turnover to start the game.
A terrible turnover. Everything about it. Look, I mean, it looks bad on Dillon, but it really, to me, is Kyle Connor on this one. You have to have better, tighter support for an outlet pass, Dave, and that's just sloppy, pond hockey style, trying to receive a pass while standing still and not supporting your defenseman on that play.
No, I mean, it's absolutely. And again, you have a Carolina team that doesn't feel good about their game right now, and you don't really want to incentivize them because you know how good they are when they score first. I don't remember what the exact number was, Ezzy, but it was they win. They win a lot of the games when they get the first goal. So it would have been in the Jets' best interest not to. And look,
I think they'd only lost 4 games all year, Dave.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. But the fact of the matter is, you can feel the Jets played a good game overall. We're not saying the Jets played a terrible game, but when they made mistakes, they end up in the back of the net, and that's because the players, on those mistakes, those were pretty bad mistakes, and David Riddick wasn't good tonight. So when your goalie is, I mean, look, no offense, but if Connor Hellebuyck's in net, those mistakes aren't it. Like, Connor Hellebuyck isn't being beaten, and look, we know that Connor Hellebuyck didn't have his best game, but those are more few and far between than this. And I'm sorry, but when you're the backup goaltender and you go in the net, and we saw David Riddick was reliable early in the season, but for whatever reason, he's just not been there of late. And this game, to me, is largely on his shoulders, because a number of these goals, you're looking at him and you're going you're right, Ezzy. This was an unfortunate one. He kicks the rebound out. It ends up going in off of Slavin and then off of him, up and over and in. And
that's why I wasn't sure. I thought on the original, I'd have to watch the replay again. I have it up here on one of my browsers, but it looked like it might have actually gone off of Dillon as well.
It's just a bit of a flutter puck. It's sort of similar to similar to the one that Niederreiter scoops away on Sunday in Tampa Bay. It had the same sort of trajectory, except that Niederreiter swatted it. This one doesn't get swatted. You don't love anything about it, but it's sort of on
it
Sunday.
It looks like when me and you play badminton, Drew. That's what it kind of looked like. Like it wasn't a puck. It looked like a shuttlecock.
Do not insult my badminton skills, young man. I represented Gray Academy in the Manitoba High School Badminton Provincials. As you know, I'm a skilled practitioner of the racket sports, and I insist to my wife, who at this point in time has actually told me to stop talking about it if I'm not going to do anything about it, is that I would be a world-class pickleball player.
Well, we've already talked about your tennis prowess at Glendale Golf and Country Club. So
my prowess was at tennis courts my prowess was at tennis courts all over the city. It didn't have to be specific to.
Well, yeah, but Glendale is, I think.
I feel like I'm watching Al Bundy talk about his 4 touchdowns for Polk High right now. So let's move it along, you two.
No. We haven't digressed nearly enough, but that's a very funny comment by Spencer Sutton, who's saying Drew and Ez are slapping cocks at each other. Pretty sure that's one of the words you're not allowed to say on YouTube.
Badminton is a great game. I think I played a little intramurals at Kelvin.
I believe that. I believe that. You don't have to, not necessarily, for the.
Hold on, Rob Mahoney's saying Al Bundy had 6 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure it was 4 touchdowns for Polk High in the game, in the championship game. Was it 4 or 6? I want 5. T. Will's now saying it's 5.
Okay, somebody
I
needs
thought it
to
was-
figure
I'm going to
it
go
out.
with 5 too.
Really?
5
I thought it was,
touchdowns.
I have this like
What's
at
No
first-
Ma'am up to these
Man,
days?
I will say Ed O'Neill, if you didn't watch Married with Children, which probably wouldn't be allowed to be on TV in
Yeah,
today's
it
day and age,
definitely probably
unfortunately,
wouldn't be. Yeah.
What
was
about Modern
the
Family?
Well,
I
he
don't
was
know,
very
but
funny on Modern
Modern
Family.
Family
as
was
well.
great.
Yeah.
MBHA hockey is saying 4 100%. So I thought it was 4-2. I'm pretty sure I have this vivid memory of saying
Well, no, and I'm reading something on the Google that's saying 4 touchdowns in a single game.
Yes, come on, let's go. Al Bundy.
I feel like that's a factoid that Dave doesn't get wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched Married with Children fairly religiously, but anyways.
Now, do you remember what the Polk High School nickname was?
I remember the neighbor's name was Marcy.
Yeah, Marcy and Jefferson.
Jefferson,
And don't you remember
Steve.
No, right, but do you remember Jefferson's last name?
Darcy.
Yeah, so she became Marcy Darcy.
Yeah, I know. Please,
Okay.
come on.
Anyways, it's the Polk High Panthers, but we've really gone down the rabbit hole now.
Well, let me tell you, Married with Children is good. Let me tell you, talking about Married with Children would be better than talking about this hockey game. At least that first period, which was a
Best
rather
intro music
ho-hum.
maybe of any sitcom ever.
That's true.
Dun,
A little bit of
dun,
old
dun,
Frank
dun.
Sinatra there, a little Blue Eyes. You mentioned Carolina scoring when they have the second most wins in the league when they're leading after 20 minutes, 27 wins this season when they're leading after 20, and they were leading after 20. 1-0 was the score after 20 minutes. Slavin, of course, as we mentioned, got his 6th of the season. It was sort of a fast game all around. There wasn't a lot of penalties.
The first period was very quick.
Yeah, weren't a lot of whistles, so a really quick first period. And then the Jets score early in the second, 19 seconds in. And this one
Play to the whistle, Drew.
Play to the whistle. Yes, play to the echo of the whistle or the whistle at all to begin with. It's a weird one. How often, by the way, do you see ever this where both goals, the first 2 goals of a game were scored by defensemen unassisted? Because this one was also unassisted. Dylan DeMello gets his 4th of the season. Basically, the game stops because everyone's expecting that Dylan Sandberg has to fight.
Were you guys not expecting a whistle? Like,
Well,
I thought for sure the whistle was going to blow. I wasn't sure if there was going to be a fight, but let's just get into it here because I agree. Mike McIntyre was describing it on Twitter. I mean, obviously we all watched it, but the way he was describing why it wasn't challenged, I honestly thought a challenge was coming for Braun Brindamore's staff, Dave. I'm not sure if that was going through your head as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very odd, Drew. Those people who didn't watch or, are listening on the podcast and weren't watching the game live. Basically what happened was Dylan Sandberg went to go. Who did he go to hit? Was
Jordan
it
Martinook?
Martinook, right, from Brandon. And he went to go hit him. And it was a bit of I don't know what you would call it. I mean, it was a lower hit. And so I guess, a couple of the Hurricanes came over. I think there was 6 players. I think there was 3 Jets and 3 Hurricanes all kind of assembled in the Jet zone. And even the camera didn't catch up with what was going on because then all of a sudden Dan Robertson, it goes, oh, the play is live, and then you just see Dylan DeMello going down the right wing, and then he goes in and scores, right? So it was very bizarre. So I mean, good for the Jets for that. That is 100% right. You play until the whistle blows. You're taught that in every single sport, right? And it's true. And the reason why is because Dylan DeMello scored while everybody else was, just. I guess, getting more familiar with each other, trading recipes or whatever they were doing. So it was very bizarre, but I am surprised they didn't challenge that.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you can challenge that.
I don't think you can challenge it.
I'm pretty sure there's nothing to challenge. What can you challenge? I mean, it's not like you could say, well, the ref had the intent to blow the whistle. So, I mean, it was funny though, because Dylan DeMello's comments during the first intermission second intermission was like, well, I'm not sure I've ever had a 2-on-1 from my end before, but he took full advantage.
3-on-1.
Yeah, that's true, Ezzy. But look, good for him, and he ties his career high for goals, and we've been joking about Dylan DeMello being an offensive defenseman, and for the fact that if you're the Jets, it was an average like I said, the first period was nothing to write home about. Really for either team, it's kind of a boring first period, and then suddenly, you're in it. And you're like, okay, well, and we know Carolina's structured, and we know that Carolina, generally speaking, I know, like I said, I think they've lost by, I think it was 4-0 and 3-0 their last 2 games, but I'm not sure how many of those goals were empty netters. But the fact is that, you're back in a game 19 seconds or something like that into the second period, and suddenly you're the bench is excited. It's a road game, and you're like, okay, we're in this game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. They were in
Hold
the
that,
game.
but hold that thought.
Yeah, they were in the game. They were tied up for all of
What a
39
cliffhanger
seconds.
from Dave M.
Yeah, for all of 39 seconds as Brady Shea scores his 13th of the season at the 58-second mark. So a sleepy first led to a firecracker of a second period. Brady Shea assists to Martin Necas and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And this is a set play off the face-off, and the Jets just get watching the puck holder, in this case Necas, and he just leaves it for Brady Shea, and then Brady Shea has, it's like the seas parted with Passover coming up, very apropos, and I believe the Hurricanes, of course, wearing red, so it's like the Red Sea parted, and he comes in and he just snipes it past David Riddick to give the Hurricanes a 2-1 lead. Dave, you said you didn't like this goal given up by Riddick. I thought just this was a good shot. I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, Schmidt and Niederreiter both go to one man and
Right.
leave him Shea to go right in. But I mean, he beat him by, I don't know, 15 feet, 20 feet. I mean, it was fairly far out. It wasn't like he was in tight when he shot that puck. So I think that Riddick should have had it. Yeah, I think he had a good shot at it. I mean, it's not as bad as the next one you're going to talk about, Drew, but I didn't think it was a good goal. No, I mean, look, when a goaltender is afforded that opportunity and that type of clearance to see a puck, you should stop it. I mean, you're in the NHL. You're paid to stop the puck. You're not paid to, try and stop the puck. You're paid to stop the puck. And I think that he needed to make that save. Personally, that would be my feeling on that goal.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying it wasn't a good shot, Ezzy. I'm just saying he should have made this. I think he should.
Yeah, first off, I don't know how many people knew that Brady Shea has 13 goals right now. Like, Brady Shea is a good defenseman, but when I saw 13, I was expecting fifth goal of the season or seventh goal of the season or something like that. So just wanted to get that in there. But I'm with Dave. I mean, look, he shoots the puck. I just watched the replay on my browser here. Like, it was right from the faceoff circle, right? And it's not like there's traffic in front of him. Yeah. But he has a good shot. Like, Shea's a big boy, so I mean, it's not, again, as bad as the next goal that we're going to talk about,
right?
But look, he wasn't making big saves. Like, what was that? That was like 2 goals on 15 shots or something like that. Yeah, I forget exactly what it was, but it's not like this was a high volume.
It might have been on 11 shots or
I was gonna say it might have even been 2 on 9, Ezzy.
Yeah, whatever.
No, they had 10 in the first period, so I can tell you it wasn't.
It was 2 on 9, Drew. It was 2 on 9.
What I mean is, like, it's not like it was, Dave, like the second goal on. It's appropriate that we should wish everybody a happy Pi Day that we're throwing out all these numbers, 3.14159.
Did you eat some pie today?
No, I didn't. I was actually thinking of like every so often I'll go buy like a store-bought pie. Yeah. Like, I don't mind
just for yourself for like lunch.
Yeah, like a box. Yeah, like I'll just eat it. Like I'll go in like a closet at work in the dark and eat it, or I'll just eat it in my car. Yeah. Listening to Nirvana or something like that. Yeah. Usually I'll down an entire box pie. Yeah. But pumpkin pie is my number 1, probably pecan number 2.
I'm pretty sure we've had.
But I enjoy all.
We did pies. Not even that far. Not even that long ago.
Exactly. Anyways, 2-1 for the Hurricanes, and you said the next goal is even uglier, and it is. It comes at the 8:15 mark of the second period. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, his 13th of the season, assist to Brady Shea and Brett Pesce. This one is it's a wraparound, and it just can't go in. I mean, it just can't go in. It looked like Riddick was surprised by it. It looked like Riddick wasn't expecting Kotkaniemi to attempt the play that he did. You just have to be more. You have to be ready. You have to be on your toes. You have to be more set in your structure to not let this one go in. And it's an ugly goal for Riddick to give up.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Carolina was cycling the puck really well before this goal was scored. But we always talk about this with when there's a wraparound goal scored because they're so rare. And Steve Valiquette used to always be on TSN 1290 talking about how rare the wraparound goals were. But you're right, Drew. I mean, this is a weak goal. And it seemed like not only was he, not set in his positioning, it seemed like he was surprised that the puck went in, right? Yeah. So, yeah, Kotkaniemi is a good player. What was he, 3rd overall back 4 or 5 years ago? And, yeah, it's very confusing why he wasn't more prepared for that save. Because that goal, Dave, like we were talking about this goal, the Brady Shea goal prior, was there was obviously, some miscommunication and too much time and space in the defensive zone. To me, this goal is all on Riddick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sorry, go ahead, Drew. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say,
I had a good rant on the last goal, so you can take it away.
I was just going to say, when look, David Riddick, when he started the season as the Jets' backup goaltender, there were a lot of questions, and he performed admirably for a while, but he's really struggled the last 3 games that he's played for the Winnipeg Jets. And
he's not giving them average. He's giving them below average goaltending right now,
right. Yeah.
which you just can't get at this point in the season. So I agree with you, Drew. The last 3-4 starts for him have been pretty rough.
And look, I understand to some extent starting Riddick in tonight's game. I don't know that you can run Hellebuyck. Look, you've already won. If you hadn't, you won Saturday, you won Sunday. So you've already had a successful road trip. Now the Winnipeg Jets aren't in a position where they can just wave the white flag at any game. But, no matter what was going to happen tonight, they were in a decent position at the end of this road trip. I mean, I don't know that you're at the point in the season where you have to play Hellebuyck or that you're happy playing Hellebuyck, every single game from here on out.
And are you going to play Hellebuyck both games this weekend, Drew?
I think you probably are.
Obviously, he's playing versus Boston 100%.
Right.
But you've got the afternoon game on Saturday against Nashville. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think you expect him to go back-to-back, but to your point, he's already played more than any other goalie in the league.
I think you play him back-to-back. I think you're playing him Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. You're probably giving, depending on the results of those games, and where the Jets are at, you're maybe giving Riddick the Tuesday game against Arizona. And then after that, it might be Hellebuyck all the way through. You have one back-to-back left against the Sharks and the Wild, I think on a Monday, Tuesday, that maybe you give Riddick one of those games, but that's it. And if the Jets, if the playoff race heats up even more, you might just be running Hellebuyck the entire time. You just, I don't know that you can trust Riddick, to get you a win, or not even necessarily get you a win, but not give up any bad goals. When you're scratching and clawing to stay in the playoff race. That's sort of unfortunate where you're at. You wonder if the Jets regret maybe trying to get a veteran netminder for at the deadline or before the deadline. Somebody maybe who could even shore up something at the AHL level. A third goaltender doesn't necessarily hurt you if you have somebody who's on the Black Aces if you make it into the playoffs. Just anything like that. Now, there weren't a lot of great options out there, so don't get me wrong. But, David Riddick did his job in the first half of the season, but he's struggled since then.
Well, now's the time when you're supposed to be earning your money, right? Like now is the time when the Jets need you most. And again, like I said, I'm not saying the Jets had their best game, but they didn't have their worst game. And if he makes one or two of those saves, maybe it's a different hockey game.
It's probably going to overtime, to be honest with you, right?
Like, Ezzy, for sure. Look, one of the biggest things that's been on the Jets, and someone tweeted about this, and I wasn't sure the number, but how many times do the Jets score a goal and then give up a goal fairly shortly thereafter? And it's just too often. Whatever the number is, I think it's too often. Yeah. It's just, and that, talk about deflating. I mean, you score a goal and then less than a minute later, you're now trailing again. I mean, that again, like I said, to me, that's why I like this Carolina structure. I like that play that they set to set, that set play story to give them that opportunity. But I think if Riddick makes a save, which he doesn't, and he doesn't on the Kotkaniemi one, you're in trouble. And now you're in a big deficit, and you're not feeling, all those good feelings you built over the weekend, they're kind of gone.
2-0 Nashville, 16 minutes to go in the third period against
Drew loves his updates.
Well, sometimes the updates are irrelevant. In this case, it's an irrelevant update. So it's
are we really scared? I'm not saying the Jets or Jets fans. I'm just saying, like, anybody. Does anybody actually think that Nashville is going to make the playoffs? Like,
UC Saros could carry them in.
It's the best when, Ezzy, it's going to be the best when Nashville makes the playoffs and the Tampa Bay Lightning don't.
No, UC Saros.
Can you imagine that with the Tanner Jeannot trade? Wow.
Yeah, but UC Saros can single-handedly carry.
I'm with you. Saros is a top 5 goalie.
Yeah,
maybe even top 3 goalie. But it's just incredible to me that you trade Matthias Ekholm, you trade Tanner Jeannot, you trade Nino Niederreiter. Who else am I missing here? Michael Granlund.
Well, it speaks to how the Jets and the Flames have been playing.
And the Milwaukee Admirals are still rolling right now in the AHL.
Oh, there you have it. So, I mean, it's unlikely, Ezzy, but at this point in time, nothing would surprise me.
No, and you're right to point out that the Predators are winning. It's like, I still think, like, there's 14 games left. The Jets can probably win 7 of those and still get in.
Well, as we talked about, after Boston, the schedule really eases up. Yeah, it's not a difficult schedule.
Congratulations to Darwin. Darwin won a donut with roll up the win.
Oh, good. That's always
that a boy, Darwin.
As he's going to need half that donut as your agent.
Yeah, one honey cruller coming right up.
Nikolai Ehlers makes it 3-2. This is early in the third period, 4:27 into the third period. Ehlers gets his 7th of the season, assist to Wheeler and Brendan Dillon. And it's a nice pass by Wheeler, putting it into empty space. And Ehlers comes in and fills that empty space and collects the puck with speed. Really didn't quite understand what the Hurricanes were doing here defensively. It seemed like they were in a decent position, and then they sort of abandoned that. I think it was Brady Shea who sort of got a little bit out of control, if I'm not mistaken, on this one. And the Jets took advantage, and they made it 3-2. They gave themselves life again early in the third period.
I think it was Brett Pesce, Drew.
It might have been Brett Pesce.
No, you were right in that Brady Shea was on the ice.
Yes, but it was
basically what happened there was they just completely didn't see Ehlers behind them because it was Jesse Puljujarvi who was the forward. So it was actually the Hurricanes had a good amount of players back in position, and Wheeler makes a beautiful pass to Ehlers, and Ehlers makes no mistake about it and scores a nice goal. So I mean, that's again, you point out Jets bad defensive coverage. That's bad defensive coverage by the Hurricanes, but great on. I'll be honest, I just watched the goal for the first time because I was parenting. I was not watching the game live. I barely saw any of the third period live. I think I tuned in with about 5 minutes left, which is actually a good time to tune in because the Jets made it 4-3. But yeah, I mean, look at Wheeler. That's great vision by Wheeler, identifying the fact that Ehlers was completely wide open, right, Dave? So at the time, that was a huge goal, and the Jets, came back again. But yeah, not sure what the Hurricanes were doing defensively there either, Drew.
Yeah, not a pretty one though. That won't look pretty on the game film, and the Jets are within a goal. And again, this is, you're not playing that well, but you're within a goal and you're fighting. So they get credit for fighting, but then not immediately, but then just a boneheaded error, just an opportunity that shouldn't be an opportunity. And it leads to Jack Drury, just called up from the AHL, gets his
fresh from the AHL,
fresh from the AHL, assist to Stefan Noesen, and it's a bad pass by Stenlund. And Pionk is handcuffed by the pass. And again, you sort of feel bad at this point in time for Pionk just because he's the target of ire, justifiably so. But in this case, the puck is just basically he's handing him a greased football and telling him to try and collect it on the ice. And he doesn't, and it ends up on Drury's stick. And again, you need Rittich to step up and make a save here, and he can't make the save. And so it's just a comedy of errors from Stenlund to Pionk to Rittich in the back of the net, and it's back to being 4-2 for the Hurricanes, Dave.
Yeah, and it's a pet peeve of mine when players bring the puck into their own zone like that, especially in a situation where you have no reason to. I mean, if Stenlund just does a quick turn, he actually has open space. So he had no reason. There wasn't a lot of pressure on him in order to get rid of that puck. I mean, I think he wanted to go for a line change, but regardless, he sets Pionk up. And the ice, you could see the ice wasn't good. And I'm not because both teams have to play on the ice. But you also have to be cognizant of the fact that the ice isn't great. Well, then you probably don't want to bring the puck into your zone when you're chasing a game and send it to Neil Pionk. And yeah, look, Neil Pionk's he had at least 4 giveaways in the first period. I didn't think he was good in the first, and they were bad giveaways. Like, they were needless giveaways he made nice passes onto the stick of the opposition. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that, it was I didn't like Stenlund bringing it in. And ultimately, you end up with the puck in the back of your net, and now you're chasing the game again. And that, as he felt like it was game over at that point, even though it was only 4-2, you don't feel like if you're the Jets that game's coming, that they're coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it, with the 2-1 goal, how deflating it is to score a goal right after you've clawed your way back into the game. And yeah, I mean, look at the goaltending was not there for the Jets tonight. David Rittich did not step up. But again, whatever you want to call it, puck management, the way you're, playing in your own zone, whatever. I mean, these are self-inflicted wounds, right? And yeah, there's a lot of blame to go around there with Stenlund and Pionk. Dave, I agree with you. Like, I look, it doesn't even matter at this point, who's more at fault. Like, I don't know what.
We're not apportioning blame.
Like, we're not judges in terms of
you don't like it from either guy's perspective.
Exactly, it was just sloppy. Again, sloppy. I don't have any other word. And I think, like, forget the fact that the Jets didn't get any points in this game, because I think I would argue it was still a successful road trip. You won
Well,
2
you
of
got
3
4 out of
games.
6.
Exactly. So, and you easily could have got at least a point in this game. So I would say that even though you didn't win all 3 games, and you need to at this point because you're trying to, stay around the second place in the Central, that's still the goal here. I mean, I don't think, look at mathematically, you could still finish first in the Central, but I think the best the Jets are going to do at this point is getting home ice and then facing the number 3 seed in the Central. So the Jets need the points right now. In addition to the fact that they're trying to hang on to that wild card spot. So I think, we lost Dave there for some reason, but
yeah, Dave left.
I think, hopefully he comes back, Drew, but that's what's
appears
more
to have-
concerning.
He left his entire, like, not only did he leave, he left his chair. We can see backstage here, and he's back. I don't know where he went or what happened, but it looks like he's about to rejoin us here. Hopefully we'll get a breaking news update from where Dave just disappeared to. We need the inquiring minds want to know where you just went.
Well, I didn't hit a kill switch, but I almost did because I forgot to plug my laptop in. So unfortunately, I was getting a notification. And I'm looking. I'm like, "What's going on?" And then I'm like, "Oh."
I thought you maybe had to drop a deuce, Dave. When Drew said that you left your chair, I wasn't sure what was going on there. I thought nature was calling. But
did you guys see? I wrote in the chat. I said, "Be right back."
Yeah, we saw BRB, but we don't. I didn't
read the private chat. I want to see the real chat. I want to see really. I can't miss any updates from Bailey or our good friends here. That's what I didn't like. The thing that I dislike the most about this game is that the at this point in the season, making these types of sloppy plays, the Scheifele line getting benched, I think is a big concern. I mean, look at guys; these guys could step up big time. Scheifele and Connor and Niederreiter against the Bruins, they have that in them. But I mean, you don't like to see that. So yeah, the Jets lose the game, but tonight's game was ugly from a Jets perspective.
Jets make it 4-3. They keep trying to fight and scratch and claw their way back into it. They make it 4-3. Nino Niederreiter, his 22nd of the season, assist to Morgan Barron and Adam Lowry. And this is just a hard driving goal. You love the effort by Lowry. You love the effort by Morgan Barron. He's really the catalyst on this one. And you love that Nino Niederreiter doesn't fool around with anything. He just goes hard at Freddie Anderson and he tips it past him on a great feed, on a great setup by Morgan Barron, Dave.
Well, first of all, I mean, I thought of the 3, even though Niederreiter was kind of fooled on the second goal against, I mean, of the 3 players, I thought he was probably the least culpable in terms of requiring to sit. Although I'm sure you'll read his comments after, Drew, so I won't get into them right now. But remember, he played in Carolina for 3.5 years. They showed a nice little thing with him. Like one of the fans said, had a little sign for him and he went up, gave them a puck, gave him a little tap on the glass during the warm-up. So you knew it meant something for him to come back to Carolina. Interesting that the Paul Stastny, of course, was a healthy scratch against his old team tonight for the Hurricanes. But
wow, the mighty have fallen. Healthy scratch. I know.
Healthy scratch, Paul Stastny.
And that's with Svechnikov and Pacioretty out, Dave.
Exactly, Ezzy. That's the whole point. Wow. So, it's not a good season for the veteran Paul Stastny. And we knew that. We talked about it, earlier in the year that it wasn't going well for him. But it obviously clearly is still not going very well for him. He keeps trying to truck along, but it's not working so well. So
he misses the Winnipeg cuisine. That's what it is.
That's what it is, Ezzy. Good point. But anywho, so the point is that, you want to give credit to Morgan Barron because Morgan Barron keeps trying to, elevate his game. And he was asked about in the pregame media availability and he Rick Bowness gave him, lauded his play of late. And obviously Adam Lowry is playing through something, but they put Nino Niederreiter on that line and you get some success, a guy who, like we've always talked about, which is why I think Blake Wheeler makes sense on that line for a variety of reasons. One, because I think he would help them create some offense on that third line. And I think he is opening him, like dropping him from the second line, create some space for someone else. But the reality, for me at least, is that right now with what's in front of us, meaning specifically this game, you like that directness, you like that Nino Niederreiter goes to the net, and all of a sudden it's a 4-3 hockey game.
7-game point streak, guys. He has come as advertised. Like they have gotten the most
and everything, and then some.
Yeah. So you got to give Niederreiter. I agree with Dave. Like Morgan Barron. That's why I asked Jeff Hamilton on Saturday's show about Morgan Barron, and I don't want to take over the president of the Morgan Barron fan club because Dave is the acting president here. But you know, you
According
could
to Ezzy,
tell.
I'm a fan. I'm the leader of a lot of fan clubs.
You
Well,
really
no,
are.
but-
How do you have so much time to do all the work for Illegal Curve and be the head of all these fan clubs?
He's been great. That's all I wanted to say. Even though he went through a lengthy goal scoring drought, you know, he's really elevated his game, and he was one of the Jets' best forwards tonight.
Yeah,
Again.
yeah, exactly. He's been very consistent and very good for the Winnipeg Jets. The goal scoring ends with Jesperi Kotkaniemi getting his 14th assist to Seth Jarvis. It goes into an empty net with 4 seconds to go. We talked about it. Blake Wheeler takes an offensive zone penalty with just under 3 minutes to play. You can't take that penalty at that time. Just speaks to the sloppiness of the Jets game, and you know, sloppiness from some of their guys who should know better, but you know, time and time again, the guys who allegedly should know better are also the guys who let the Jets down the most. And tonight was an example of that. Not a great performance from Scheifele, not a great performance by Kyle Connor. Wheeler actually had a pretty decent game, but this is a bad penalty to take at this point. So the Jets end up losing 5-3 to the Carolina Hurricanes, ending the road trip on a positive. They don't end it on a positive note, but ultimately a positive road trip with 2 wins and 1 loss. But then they got to recalibrate themselves and head home to meet the Boston Bruins on Thursday night. Another stiff test against an Eastern Conference juggernaut.
Stiff test, but taking your role, reading that out of town scoreboard, they're currently tied 2-2 with the Chicago Blackhawks.
I know. Sometimes you play down to the level of your opponent. The Jets certainly hope they do that on Thursday night against the Jets, as they certainly are right now.
Honest question: who's even playing for the Blackhawks right now?
The Rockford Ice Hogs.
I think I might be able to. Like, Max Domi's gone, Patrick Kane is gone, Jonathan Taves isn't playing, Sam Lafferty's gone, Jake McCabe is gone.
I can tell you that Mackenzie Entwistle got the opening goal. That's his third of the season.
Entwistle's a good player, though. He's a good young player, but like, they must have a bunch of call-ups in the lineup.
It's not a who's who of names. It's not a who's who. Buddy Robinson's getting back into an NHL game.
That's the one. That's the one I needed. Buddy Robinson.
He's our buddy.
Yeah. Mike Hardman, who apparently is the illegitimate son of Mike Hartman. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, Mackenzie Entwistle, you were starting a little bit slow there, but now with Buddy Robinson and Mike Hardman, those are the names that I needed to hear. I mean, it's a terrible lineup. But like Dave said, the thing is, like, when you have a lineup of mainly AHL guys, it's like they play harder. And they're unpredictable. It's chaotic, right?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And a lot of them are playing for contracts, so.
There you go.
They play with a lot. They play with heart.
Moose legend Buddy Robinson, right? Dave?
They have nothing to lose by, even if they get blown out. Well, everyone says, well, no one expected anything, and then if they play well, it's like, hey, look at you guys, look at the heart and soul you're demonstrating. Anyways,
he's our buddy.
He's our buddy. 5-3, the Hurricanes win against the Winnipeg Jets. We'll head to break. When we come back, more of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Interesting who spoke to the media and who didn't speak as well. We'll talk about that. Smash the like button. This has been the Betway game recap. Big thanks to our friends at Betway, where, of course, it's simple, fun, and safe to bet with Betway. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Tuesday night. More to come. Don't go anywhere. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're live on YouTube and all of our social media platforms.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's transfer, moving, and storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rollies and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time. Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com. For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. The bottom of the hour approaches. It's Tuesday night. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. The Seagram's shot of the game, courtesy of our friends at Seagram's, and Fireball. Tastes like heaven, burns like hell. We're going to give that to Dylan DeMello's 4th goal of the season. It opened the scoring for the Winnipeg Jets. Certainly a weird one, but nothing weird about our love of Fireball. Get your favorite dose of Fireball anywhere your best liquor products are sold. Big thanks to Seagram's for being a sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show and for their shot of the game promotion. Interesting comments from Nino Niederreiter about the Winnipeg Jets in the game tonight. Quote, about being benched for much of the second period. Quote, we didn't deserve to play. We simply weren't good enough. We weren't engaged. We weren't doing the job we were supposed to do. We definitely deserve that. He made the message pretty clear, he being Rick Bowness. We've got to be better. We've got to show up, especially at this time of year. And yeah, it was definitely unacceptable. So comments, pointed comments from Nino Niederreiter, reasonable comments from Nino Niederreiter. But what is particularly interesting is that the assembled media in Raleigh, that being Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press, Ken Wiebe of Sportsnet, they requested to speak with Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele as well. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, highly paid,
and rightfully so. I mean, because those are the other 2 guys that were benched.
No question. Highly paid members of the Winnipeg Jets. Guys who've been in this organization for a number of years. Guys who ostensibly consider themselves leadership on this team. Refused to speak to the media after tonight's game. That is pretty unacceptable from my perspective. And I'm not somebody who usually gets bent out of shape about who speaks and who doesn't speak. But the fact that Nino Niederreiter spoke, who, by the way, scored a goal and has been manna from heaven for the Winnipeg Jets since he arrived, came and spoke to the media about his line and their poor play. But Scheifele and Connor, who haven't really been that good for the last little while, didn't speak. That's not a good look. That is
It's
not
it's not a good look, and especially because Josh Morrissey, who I think we all agree is basically the captain of this team,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Like we know he has an A, and good on Brendan Dillon. He was wearing the A tonight. Yeah, it's a bad look. Like just and this kind of goes back to what we've said before about end of game player interviews or intermission interviews, right, Dave? Like just talk to the media for 2 or 3 minutes, and you know what
Cliche
they're going to ask
answers.
you. Like you know they're going to ask you about being benched.
Yeah.
And so just say that you weren't playing really well. Like when these players refuse, like Mike McIntyre and Ken Wiebe are doing a job. Like this is their job to get the quotes from Nikolai Ehlers, from Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they speak. I don't know what the plan is for tomorrow, or maybe they speak
It's
prior
an
to
off
the
day.
game.
It's an off day tomorrow.
Right. So they're not going to talk tomorrow. So maybe they give the media Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele on Thursday before the game days, after the game day skate. I have no idea. But the point is, we want to hear from these guys now. And these are leaders, especially Scheifele, right? Like he has an A on his jersey. So
Look,
it's unacceptable.
You have to speak in this instance. And I don't care if you come out and say nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just come out and say nothing. Like
Yeah.
Mark Scheifele says nothing for the most part anyways. He's a great hockey player, but he's a captain of cliches. Like let's call a spade here. He doesn't speak as eloquently as Josh Morrissey or Adam Lowry. So just go in front of the media, go in front of Mike and Kenny, and just answer a few questions and then go hit the shower.
That's just it. You have to be front and center. Just even if it's the visual of it instead of the visual of you running and hiding and hiding behind Nino Niederreiter. That is the optics of it are awful. And now as a result, it's going to be talked about.
And look, at the end of the day, Mark Scheifele spoke after the Florida game, so I mean, it's less on Mark Scheifele, I would say, than more, and maybe Kyle Connor needs to step up, because if you look quickly, right, like Scheifele spoke after the Panthers game, so he did speak, and generally it is a rotation. I mean, we get a chance to ask for whomever we get to ask for, and we speak with whomever we are eventually given. It's not as if there's a rule that you have to be allowed to speak to the person that you request. So, I mean, guys sometimes going for treatment. I have no idea. I wasn't there, so I can't say if they refused because they just didn't want to talk, or if they were. Sometimes guys will say, "Oh, I need to get treatment. I can't do it." Believe me, I've heard them. I've heard all of the reasons to not speak. Who wouldn't want to speak to me? But sometimes it happens.
Look, when you get benched, I don't need them to speak after every game, but when you get benched for the
Plus, my questions, Drew, are so hard. I'm like, what's your favorite pizza restaurant in Winnipeg?
When you get benched for the vast majority of the second period, you have to come and speak. You just have to. And I see other people saying, well, and Doug, who I love, says, well, Buff never spoke. Yeah, Buff never got benched. Buff, you never had to worry about his effort or anything else. And
for the record, no, I will. But just quickly, I mean, people commented on the fact that he never spoke.
Yeah, of course,
people commented on it all the time. And again, he was requested; he just didn't do it.
Right.
So I mean,
you can't speak. But Buff was consistent.
Yeah,
he never spoke. He didn't speak.
That's true. It wasn't like
bad.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
And Dave mentioned that maybe there was another reason why Scheifele and Connor refused to speak to the media. And yeah, you're right, Dave. He did speak after the Florida game, but regardless of why the two of them didn't speak, it's a bad look on them.
It's a bad look. I agree.
That's what it's about for me, because it's over.
I agree with you.
Like, they're not going to speak. So to me, I like. Hopefully, we don't have to talk about this anymore, because I'd like to move on. But it's a bad look, and it's quite frankly, for someone who's in the media, it's another annoying thing that these players do.
Yeah, no question. Anyways, so it'll be, there you have it. So you can do what you want with that piece of information. Maybe you think that they're fine, and you're perfectly entitled to that opinion.
Exactly. That's the whole point. People have their opinions. So if
Yeah.
you think it's not a big deal, then you don't think it's a big deal. If some people think it's a big deal, that's their opinion.
I know.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
There you go. There's no shortage of that as well. Let's go to the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, Ezzy, who's getting the prize for tonight's post game show.
We're going to give it to our really good friend, Rob Somerville. I'm not sure if Rob has won a toque yet this year. He'll let us know in the chat. I know he won a toque last year, the first year that we did the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. So this might be Rob's third toque, but it's definitely at least his second toque. So you've got the comment up there. He always has great comments. Since their arrival in Winnipeg, both Niederreiter and Nemestikov have been impactful for the team, going to the net with every opportunity they get and leading by example for their teammates. And I think he's bang on there. I realize they lost. Clearly, Niederreiter got a key goal that brought the Jets within one goal there. But 7-game point streak. Nemesnikov's been putting the puck in the net, centering the second line. We know that both of Chevy's moves have paid off, right? And the Jets have a couple of wins to show for it. So Rob, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com. I believe I do have your mailing address, but just send it to me again. Maybe you've moved. But congrats, Rob. You're going to get a Tough Duck toque, and we're all going to need toques for at least another week or two here because spring is not here yet.
Not quite yet, unfortunately. The wind was whipping out there.
And what's
today.
going on? It's all icy. I bit it today.
Oh,
Wasn't
no.
happy.
Dave,
Yeah, a
you
little-
okay?
Almost took out the laptop.
A man of your age,
Ooh.
has fragile hips.
Oh, please, Mendel. I've seen you run. I've seen you run. And play baseball, for the record.
Yeah.
One of us goes to the fence. The other one, not so much.
We should have an illegal curve Olympics. Everyone will finish last.
Never mind that. 2/3 of us will die. Just drop
I will
dead
say,
on the
though,
field.
Oh
We
yeah,
gotta go-
I'll have my CPAP machine on the whole time, Drew.
Believe me, I've been in a room with Ginsburg. I'll find the snoring. Give me 1 second.
No, we don't need it. We don't need it. We've all heard it. We don't need it again.
YouTube would be like immediately. They'd be like, we're hearing something that's inappropriate, and we're gonna shut down this channel.
Illegal Curve merchandise contest. So, of course,
Yes.
to enter the Illegal Curve merchandise contest, you hit the drop down arrow on the YouTube channel. You'll see the contest link. If you can't find it there, you go to the website. You'll click the link. You'll see a whole list of things you can do to get entered into the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. The more things you do, the more ballots you enter, the more chance you have
Okay,
to
hold
win.
on a second there. Rob is saying that he'd like to gift the two.
Yes.
So we can. Who are we going to give it to?
I kinda
then?
think
That's very
Jeff- I
that's
think
very
Jeff
generous
Bose- I
of
thi-
Rob.
Has Jeff Bose won? Because Jeff always has a lot of good comments, and I kind of feel like Jeff deserves a Tough Duck too.
Okay, if Rob, hey, look at Rob. If you give us the thumbs up, we'll give it to Jeff Bose.
Yeah,
If he doesn't give him the thumbs up, it's going to be really awkward.
yeah, Izzy, what are you trying to do? Create
Yeah.
dissension in the
Rob's
chat
like, I
right
don't.
now?
Maybe not Jeff. Maybe somebody else. So Jeff, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, and Rob, you're a beauty for gifting your toque because you could have easily just. Rob could have just put
Could have
one
been a
toque
hoarder.
over the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could have been a 2-quarter, but instead
Yeah.
he's giving it away. Very, very
Yeah.
kind of Rob.
There you go. Rob's a good man, as we like to say on this show. Anyways, the unique code word for tonight's Illegal Curve merchandise contest. Enter this, get 10 entries into the contest. Of course, this link, this code will be live until Thursday when the Jets and the Bruins meet each other. The unique code word is City of Oaks. Dave, why don't you explain why it's City of Oaks?
Because Raleigh is known as the City of Oaks.
There you go, Dave.
Did you know that, Drew, already?
I didn't know that it was the
Because
City
you've
of
been to
Oaks.
Raleigh a few times, right?
I have been to Raleigh a few
Rob,
times.
by the way, gave the thumbs up.
Okay, good. Thank you,
That's
Rob.
one of the top cities I want to go. NHL cities I want to go to. By the way, like you
Yeah.
can see, it just looks like so much fun going to those games.
I never saw a game there. I saw a North Carolina State game against Wofford, if I recall correctly. I think that's who they played. My wife went to
Wofford.
I think it's Wofford to be exact.
Wofford.
My wife
Wofford.
went to grad school at North Carolina State University. So yes, I did spend a little bit of time in Raleigh. I quite enjoyed my time there.
MJ,
Nice
baby.
city. What'd you say?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, not North Carolina State. North Carolina
Oh,
is
right.
is Michael Jordan. But
Right.
good try. That was almost.
Are
you
they going to
almost got
do?
that right.
What about? We haven't even talked about March Madness, Drew. I need you to help me out. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm cheering for Kentucky, but
Thank you.
Does
I don't
does
know
anybody
anything
get
else.
this comment, or do you have to be familiar with the Elmwood?
No,
North
I
Kildonan,
got
East
the comment. It
Kildonan
was
area?
pretty funny. That was actually pretty funny by Rob. That
Maybe
I
we should
got
be-
that.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, City of Oaks. So enter that as the unique code word. You'll get 10 bonus entries, and you can win authentic Jets merch. And I will say before Drew announces the winner that if you haven't received an email from me, it means your merch has not been mailed out yet. So don't freak out that you haven't gotten your merch. The merch train slowed down with trade deadline, other things going on. I'm trying to get it all handled. I've got the elves.
it's hard running a Ponzi scheme.
I was
mean,
going to say
Dave-
I've got the elves working in the back right now, but it's not going as smoothly as possible. So we'll hopefully have that tightened up and dealt with by the end of next week. If I can get Ezzy to come with me and do some deliveries, that'll make it even
I'll
more
absolutely
fun.
come. I'm thinking we should talk to the True North staff and get one of those t-shirt shooters, those cannons, and then we can just shoot all the Illegal Curve merchandise as we're driving down the streets. Dave.
That's great, Ezzy. Actually, that'd be fantastic.
I can't see any problem with that. Congratulations to tonight's winner, Andrew Haleko.
Yes.
Andrew is the winner of the Illegal Curve merchandise contest for
Out in
tonight's
Alberta,
game.
if my memory
Great
serves me
first name.
correctly.
Yes, Andrew, very good first name. Exactly. I would agree with that. So, congratulations to Andrew. He has won the Illegal Curve merchandise contest for tonight. And we will, of course, be in touch accordingly to make sure he gets hooked up with all of the merch. Jets next
By
in
the way, this
action.
is true. This is a good comment by Is Your Boy Bruce.
Yeah, there you go. Winnipeg is also a city of
Oh,
oaks.
and
Scott
also I was
Darcy.
going to say I'm not going to reveal what street in River Heights I live on, but very close to Oak Street.
Thanks.
And well, if we were going to go
right.
there, I was in school in the Seven Oaks School Division. Shout out to Garden City. They lost to Steinbeck, I believe,
Yes.
in the provincial final. So unfortunate for my Gophers, but congratulations on a good run nonetheless.
Also, the Oaks, a beautiful neighborhood in Headingley, just outside the city.
Okay. Anybody else got any Oak
the
related?
Oaks, Drew?
I don't, in fact.
The Oaks.
I believe you. I'm not familiar
A very
with...
famous owner of a local sports team lives in that area.
Okay.
Mark Chipman.
Okay. Anybody else got anything about Oaks related?
That's where he lives. He lives in the Oaks area.
I believe you.
It's not like that's not a secret.
I don't even know what that is.
I didn't know what it was either, so I'm not sure what Ginsburg's talking about.
Have you guys heard of Camp Manitou?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's by the Oaks.
Okay.
No.
Well, thank
Have
you
you not
for
heard
that.
of the Oaks? It's a big, beautiful houses there.
Because we're not all as bourgeoisie as Mendel.
I don't know anything about it. What are you talking? This is all Ginsburg. The Predators.
I just can't get past
and
the
for the
moat.
record,
Every time I go to Drew's house, I'm like, there's no boat here that I can cross the moat, so I never actually get to Drew's house. Like the drawbridge never comes down. Like it's just, it's crazy that who lives in a castle nowadays? The fact that Drew lives in a castle is just
there is actually little known fact. There's a lotto winner off the North Perimeter who won the lotto and built a castle. So if you ever drive by, it has little turrets, and they have. I think they started. I don't know if they ever finished the house, but you can see it from the North Perimeter.
Okay. Well,
North Enders know what I'm talking about.
You guys.
And also, by the way, you forgot the Oaks is a bar in Ticona.
Yes.
Ticona Poly, what's up?
Right, and there's also the Oakwood Grill, if I'm on South Osborne, if I'm not mistaken.
Okanor.
Okay. Anyways,
the Nashville Predators used to be Okanor.
The Nashville Predators won 2-1 final there, so they get even closer to the Winnipeg Jets.
The whole scoreboard watching is that's so 10 games left.
There's 14 games left. It's not like there's a
talk to me in 4 games, Drew.
Okay, fine. I'll talk to you in 4 games. I've had enough talking to you all tonight. We'll be back Thursday night with the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Boston Bruins. The Jets stepping up in weight class, even higher than the very impressive Carolina Hurricanes, as the Bruins come to town on Thursday.
After we go off air here, I'm going to go hug an oak tree.
You go do that. Want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Jets lose tonight 5-3 in Carolina. We'll be back in action on Thursday night for the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Boston Bruins. And of course, it's going to be a very busy weekend as well. Saturday morning, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show at 9 a.m. Post-game after that huge Jets-Predators game on Saturday afternoon, right around, I believe, 3:45 or so. And then again, Sunday, the Jets and the Blues right around 8:45. So a huge weekend of Illegal Curve shows coming your way, as well as Thursday's game against the Bruins. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us feedback here, there, and everywhere, because we always like to know what you think about this fine broadcast. Tell your friends, tell your family. Best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. And again, on Saturday mornings is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. For Dave Minuk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you on Thursday night. Until then, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve postgame show.
Oak.